and welcome to this video. For about a minute or so I'm going to introduce this video, but if you're keen to just get stuck in, then you can find the timestamps in the description box below. My name is Bethany and I'm a musician and a music educator based in the UK. If you find this content useful, like this video, then you can like it, you can subscribe to see what's coming next, and you can also comment below to let me know how you're getting on with the videos. If you have any particular requests, then you can also put that down in the comments too. But for now, let's practice the listening skills in MTB's Grade 3 exam. This listening skills section is made up of 3 questions. First question is to sing back 4 pairs of notes. The pair of notes will be played at the same time. There will be a higher one and a lower one, and you need to sing both the higher and lower one back individually. The second question is to clap back 4 rhythms, one at a time. The third question is to sing back 3 short melodies, one at a time. So unlike the oral requirements of other leading exam boards like Trinity and ABRSM, the exact examples, pitches, rhythms, notes that we are doing today are exactly the ones that you need to demonstrate in your exam recording for MTB. So in other words, everything we're doing today is exactly what you're going to have to do in your exam. During your exam recording, yourself and your teacher can decide whether you'd prefer for your teacher to play the examples at the piano and clap the rhythm examples themselves, or whether you'd prefer to use the MP3 recording provided by MTB, which is available on their website. I will demonstrate how to use this recording at the end of the video. If you want to find it yourself, then it's just at mtbexams.com. After having a practice with me today, I'd recommend heading on over and getting a copy of that recording. Save it somewhere that you can access so you can practice it while you're on the go, for instance. There is also the listening sheet that is available as a PDF. I wouldn't recommend that students use this while they're practicing, as this is a listening skills test, so we need your responses to come from listening and not reading. For question number 1, the examiner will say, "I shall play a 2-note chord," and then you shall sing back both the upper and the lower notes. We will do this with 4 different chords. You can decide if you're going to be singing examples from the treble clef or the bass clef options that they provide. For this practice video, I will always show you examples in both clefs. If you already know which clef you have chosen that suits your voice best, then you can find the timestamps in the description box below. Then you can navigate your way through this video by skipping the clef that doesn't apply to you and just going straight to the clef that is best suited to your voice. So if you haven't chosen already, hopefully hearing both clefs helps you decide which one you're going to choose for your exam. Both examples in both clefs are actually using the same notes, except the bass clef and the treble clef are just a whole octave apart. If you know that you sing notes that are higher than middle C a lot more comfortably, then you should be picking the treble clef. Or if you find notes that are below middle C more comfortable, then you should be picking bass clef. First, I'll play you the treble clef notes. For this first demonstration, I'm going to play each note individually from each pair. So for example, instead of playing it as a chord like this for the first one, I'm going to play the lower note and then the higher note. This is just to help you absorb those pitches, because as mentioned, these are exactly the pitches that you're going to be singing in your exam recording. As with all of my other first demonstrations, I will sing with you for the first time. Here is the first chord, from which I'm going to play for now each note individually. La, la. Here's the second. La, la. Here's the third. La, la. And the fourth. La, la. So using those same treble clef notes, I'm now going to put those notes together and play them in harmony as a chord, as it will be in the exam. This time I'm not going to sing with you. If you're practicing this bit with me and you're finding it quite hard to find each note within the chord, then please just return back to the previous example that I just showed you and keep practicing those individual notes after hearing them individually. After a few goes, I'm sure then this part will be a bit easier. Here is the first chord. The second. And the third chord. And the last chord. done. I'm now going to do the same process with the bass clef notes. So first, let's hear how they sound individually. So for this bass clef example, I won't be singing for this first time, unfortunately, because my voice just does not stretch that low. Here is your first chord. I will play each note individually. You can sing them back. And the second chord. And the third chord. And the fourth chord. Well done! Okay, so now I'll put those bass clef notes together and I will play each example in harmony as a chord. If you get to this point and you're finding this quite tricky to find each individual note within the chord, then keep practicing the small section that I just showed you where I play each note individually. After a couple of goes, this will make this next part a little bit easier. Here's your first chord. Here's your second chord. And your third. And your fourth. Well done! When you're practicing with the recording provided by MTB, you can just pause the track after each chord just to give yourself a little bit more time to hear and internalise those notes within the chord. You could even take it back a step even further and maybe just try and sing the lower note of each chord, or maybe just the higher note. Over time, you'll be more used to these sounds and pitches that are combined to create those chords, and this will become easier. For the second question, the examiner will say, I shall count the pulse and then clap a rhythm. Clap it back immediately after you hear it. We shall do this with 4 different rhythms. In grade 3, each example is in 6/8 and 4 bars each. So for example, in 6/8 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This can be counted like this: 1, 2, 1, 2. You don't necessarily need to know this for this part of the exam. They don't announce what the time signature is, but I do think it's quite helpful to remember that you can fit quite a lot in each half of the bar. For this first practice, I'm actually going to use note names or syllables that you can say while you're clapping the rhythm. Because these examples will be the exact same examples in your exam, it is a little bit of a memory game, so hopefully by saying these note names, you will start to internalise these rhythms a little bit easier. I suggest in this practice that you actually do say and clap the rhythms back to me. Make sure you come in straight away as soon as I've finished, as if you're coming in on the first beat of the next bar. Here is rhythm number 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ta, triola, tum, ti, ta. Triola, triola, ta, ta. Well done. Here is rhythm number 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Tum, ti, ta. Tum, ti, ta. Ta, triola, triola, ta. Here is the third rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ta, ta, triola, ta. Tum, ti, triola, tum, ti, ta. Well done. And the fourth rhythm. This fourth rhythm introduces a new rhythm, which I will say chocolate bar. 1, 2, 1, 2. Chocolate bar, triola, chocolate bar, ta. Ta, ta, chocolate bar, ta. Well done. You might find it useful to go back over that so that you can get used to what those rhythms sound like using our voices. Those are just some of the words and syllables that I choose to use for rhythms. There are plenty of others that you can use and practice with your teacher if that helps you remember these rhythms. But for now, we're now going to try and clap back these rhythms without saying anything. So it will go like this. Have a listen. Here's rhythm number 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here is rhythm number 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here is rhythm number 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. And here is the last rhythm, rhythm number 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well done! Something else you can do to help you remember these rhythms is cut the rhythms in half. This is something that you can do with the recording that is provided by MTB. So you could put the MP3 track on, you could hear 2 bars of a rhythm and then pause the track, clap it back. When you've done that, you can hit play again and then clap back the other half of the rhythm. You could also listen to the rhythm and you could respond with rhythm names if you wanted to. They don't use rhythm names in the example, it's just clapping. But this might just be a nice way for you to really secure those rhythms that you've been practicing. For the third and final question, the examiner will say, I shall play a melodic phrase twice, and then you shall sing it back straight away. We will do this for 3 different examples. So for these, you won't get a key chord or a starting note. But as you are practicing the exact rhythms, the exact pitches that you will be demonstrating in your exam recording, hopefully this is okay because you'll be internalising those melodies in your practice. These examples are all in 4/4 and only 2 bars long. This first example that I'm demonstrating will be the treble clef version, but if you are a bass clef singer and you sing all the low notes, then you can skip to that part of the video which is in the timestamps in the description box below. I suggest that when it's your turn to sing, you sing La. I will show you what that will sound like now, so when it's your turn to sing, I will join you with my singing too. Here is the first melody. Here it is for the second time. La 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 la. Here is the second melody. And here it is for the second time. And the third melody. And for the second time. La 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 la. And here are the bass clef examples. Please note that I won't be singing these examples because they are far too low for me. So when there is the gap, that's when you should be singing. Here is the first example. And for the second time. Well done. Here is the second example. second time. Well done. And here is the third and final example. And here it is for the second time. Well done. So when you're practicing at home in your own time, it's important that you take note of the rhythm. So I suggested that you sing loud, which makes the notes really clear and punctuated, which helps promote you singing the correct rhythm too, as well as the pitch. You can also clap the pulse that you come in straight away after the second playing. You could also practice just clapping back the melodies so that you can really hear the rhythm nice and clearly. You could then try again and add your voice to your clapping, and then for a third practice you can take your clapping away entirely and just use your voice as it would be in the exam. It's also a really nice idea when you're trying to absorb what you're listening to just to shut your eyes. You can imagine each note moving higher and lower as you listen to each one, so you can navigate your way through the melody using your ears. Now I'm going to use the recording provided by MTB to show you what a good example of this section should look and sound like.
Welcome to this MTB Exams Grade 3 Listening Skills Test. Test 1, Singing Back Notes. I shall play a 2-note chord, and then you will sing back both the upper and lower notes. We shall do this with 4 different chords.
La, 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 la.
Test 2, Clapping Back Rhythms. I shall count the pulse and then clap a rhythm. You clap it back immediately after you hear it. We shall do this with 4 different rhythms. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3. Singing back melodic phrases. I shall play a melodic phrase twice, and then you shall sing it back. We shall do this with 3 different melodies. Here is the first melody. Here is the second melody. And here is the third melody.
If there's anything that you'd like to share, or maybe something that I've missed, or something in particular that you found useful from this video, or anything else that you've seen on my channel, please do let me know by putting it in the comments below. You can also like this video, you can subscribe to see what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.